Hey, what's up guys? Radku here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today is going to be Orchest. Now, this is one of my personal favorite decks, and I actually really like how well this deck turned out, and I play tested this for a little bit, and it is surprisingly good. It can make really good first boards, and it's even better going second. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So of course I played triple Gearsu, the Orcus Mech Knight. I kinda wish Harp Horror wasn't banned, but I understand why it was, because it could easily summon from the deck. But Gearsu is a good replacement for that card in this deck. It doesn't do the same thing, but it allows you to one, get tokens, and two, it allows you to send your Orcus monsters or World Legacy cards to the graveyard. So Gearsu is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's worth the price tag on it, but it's still a great card, and I would suggest playing it in your Orcus decks. Three copies of Orchestra Nightmare. This is kind of your play starter. You can banish this card, then target one face-up card on the field. You cannot special summon monsters except dark monsters for the rest of the turn. Doesn't really matter. Most of your cards are dark monsters except for your scrap cards. Um, Also send one dark monster from your deck to the graveyard except Orcus or Dark Machine monster, sorry. So that means you can send your World Legacy, your or Macarochi, and you can send all your Orcus monsters. So this card is like your play starter, really good. Three copies of Orcus Symbol Skeleton. I play this card just because it's of course an Orcus. Most people will only play two copies, but it's very interchangeable. I play three copies just so that I have enough Orcus material. So three copies of this. This can target other Orcus in your graveyard and special summon them. So three copies of this is definitely mandatory. Then I play one copy of Brass Bombard because you really only have this just to send it to the grave. But I really like it for Halki Fibrax plays because what I did was I sent my Orchest Nightmare to the grave, and it sent the Symbol Skeleton, which allowed me to special summon a Brass Bombard from the grave, which allowed me to go into my link plays with Halki Vibrax. So this card is actually really good, and I love it. I would bump it up to 2, but I feel like there just aren't many cards I can cut out here, maybe other than like a few of the tech options down here. So, then I play two copies of World Legacy World Wand. You can normal summon, if this card, normal summoned or set, cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster special summoned from the extra deck. And then you can only use the following effects once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard, special summon one World Legacy monster from your hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one banished Orcust monster, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for dark monsters. So, on top of being able to search out another World Wand, you can send you can special summon back your Orcus monsters with this card, and this card's really good. I'm thinking about bumping it up to 3. There's a lot of interchangeable cards in here, so it's debatable whether to bump it up to 3. Then I play, of course, the Scrap Engine, 3 Scrap Recycler, and 1 Scrap Golem, just because it's great cards. And Scrap Recycler got a reprint in the Machina structure deck, so it's pretty cheap now. Um, but I don't run the Machina engine just because I don't run the Halki Fibrax like full engine. Like I don't run the Union Carriers. I don't run a lot of cards that usually go in this deck because I'm playing a more of a combo version than anything, and I don't really want to have to be limited to the specific combos. So I made this deck more open and fluent. So yeah. Then I play, of course, mandatory Armageddon and Dark Grepher. These cards are really good. Absolutely mandatory. I wish we could play more of them, but they're both limited. Then I play one Giz Macarochi just because it's a dark machine monster. It's pretty easy to summon too. Um, it's like Pot of Desires, but minus 2 cards. So this card's pretty good. Plus, you can it is an hard once per turn. But it's fine. Then I play 2 copies of Jet Synchron. I don't play O Lion. I don't play Destruction Sword, and I am running Halky Fibrax, but that's just so that I can summon out all my other tuner monsters, because this deck has quite a few tuner monsters, including Jet Synchron, including Gamma, which I don't really use, but it's still a card that's a tuner. I usually use it to get out my Brass Bombard so I can use it for link plays and then summon it from the graveyard. Um, then I play 2 copies of my Cyframe Gear Gamma and my one driver. I really only play 2 copies of this because there were some other cards that I wanted to squish in here, including one more Orchestrated Babel. But I think this card is like mandatory for this format, just because it's like Effect Veiler but better. Then I play 2 Nibiru. I haven't been running Nibiru in many of my decks, but I think this deck really needs it because if your opponent has like a super crippling board on their side, you can summon out your Nibiru token to their side of the field to get rid of their board so that you don't have as many disruptions while you're doing your second turn combos. Then I play 2 copies of Orchestrated Babel. Basically makes all your Orcus monsters affect quick effects, so you can use them during your opponent's turn while they're in the graveyard, which is really helpful. Then I play 3 copies of Orchestrated Return. Send one Orcust monster from your hand or face of field to the graveyard, then draw 2 cards. So basically, you draw 2 cards and then you gain more advantage off of that. So that is really good, especially if you can send your World Wand or your Symbol Skeleton. It's basically a free draw 2 that gains you advantage. Then I play, of course, Triple Called by the Grave. You want to save your plays here. See, the thing about this deck is you can play hand traps as well as being able to play Called by the Grave, because this deck has enough combo pieces that you don't really need to worry about it. So, Triple Called by the Grave, 1 World Legacy Succession, target 1 monster in the graveyard, special summon it to a zone, a link monster points to. Um, that's like the easiest thing you can do. Like, at this point in the game, it's like a super easy card to pull off, especially with having so many link monsters in this deck with downward pointing arrows. 1 Monster Reborn and 1 Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is like amazing in this deck because you can send all your Orcus monsters to gain huge advantage off of it. Then I play 1 Orcus Crescendo because this is a going second deck. So if you can set this and negate some of your opponent's effects, even if you end up going first, you can still pull off great combos. So that is it for the main deck. I'd say it's pretty solid, if not a bit interchangeable. You can bump up some of the better cards like World Wand or Brass Bombard, and maybe bump down Symbol Skeleton, but I'd say it's pretty solid right now. Now for the extra deck, I play 2 copies of Dingirsu. Dingirsu is like amazing. Like, this is the heart and soul of this deck, and pretty recently it got a reprint, and it went from like $40 to like $2, which is amazing reprints. So 2 of those definitely mandatory. 1 Abyss Dweller, just because you have so many possible options with this deck that Abyss Dweller isn't just a bad option. Then 2 Galatea. This card you don't usually summon out a lot more of than two of them, so two is fine. This linked card cannot be destroyed by battle. You can target one of your banished machine monsters, shuffle it into the deck, then you can set one Orcus spell trap directly from your deck. So basically, you could set your crescendo directly from your deck, or better yet, during your turn, you can set your orchestrated babble and activate it that turn, or even your return. You can easily do anything with this card, and it is definitely really good. One lib, then uh, the generic cards. Scrap Wyvern just for the scrap engine. IP Masquerena, Crystron Halki Fibrax. I don't run the full Jet Synchron engine, but I feel like Jet Synchron being able to be a one card Halki Fibrax is really good, and Halki Fibrax being able to summon your Brass Bombard directly from your deck that you can go into link plays with is really good. I need to add more synchro monsters, and I am playing Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. Again, I need to add some synchro monsters to this deck that are good, because this deck can easily summon out a ton of monsters, and it can easily synchro summon. Even though Orcus doesn't have any technical synchro monsters, it can easily summon them out. So I should run more synchros, and I am playing Auroradon. One Link Karibo, just because Halki Fibrax play. One Long Gear Sue. Um, this linked monster cannot be destroyed by card effects, and then you can target two of your banished machine monsters, shuffle them into the deck. You banish a lot of machine monsters in this deck, and it doesn't specify face down, so if you use your gear suit or Macarochi, you don't have to worry about that. So basically, this card just allows you to regain advantage. Then you can send one linked monster your opponent controls to the graveyard, so non-targeting, non-destruction removal, which is really good, and then it's a hard once per turn. Then Nightmare Unicorn, just in case for IP Masquerena. You don't really use that play a lot, but it's still good to have. One Topologic Zeraboros, because this deck banishes a lot, so if you can banish your opponent's entire board as well as gaining advantage off of those banishings, it's really good. Then, of course, just for OTK purposes, Access Code Talker. You don't usually go into Access Code, but you can still use it pretty effectively. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. I'm really thinking that this deck is a bit more fluid than most Orcus decks are, because I'm not playing a lot of the engines that most of them are, and I changed up quite a bit of stuff, like I didn't run Impermanence, and I bumped up Crescendo more. But yeah, I'd say it's pretty solid. Please tell me what you think of it in the comment section down below. Tell me what you think I can do to upgrade the deck more. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Peace.